A mist lay over the peaks of the Carpathians, and at the first light of dawn Elara Ionescu slowly opened her eyes. The distant crowing of roosters mingled with a gentle wisp of smoke rising from the old thatched roof, that tiny world she had known for 19 years. Her mother, Anka, was bustling over the charcoal stove, her worn face softening into a tender smile as she glanced at her daughter. Her brother, Luca, had already gone out to the fields before sunrise. He'd sent back a bundle of vegetables and 2 eggs for breakfast. Elara sat up, shook the pale green dress draped over the rough stone bench on the porch, and laid her slender hand on her mother's woolen sweater. "Mom, I'm going to the city today," she said softly. Anka's voice caught in her throat as she looked at Elara. "The city is vast, remember to take care of yourself. I believe in you." In her small suitcase, just 10 kilograms, Elara packed her portfolio, landscape paintings, portraits of villagers, and Carpathian tourism posters she had designed herself. The full scholarship in graphic design at the University of Bucharest was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but it meant leaving the peaceful life she had only dared to dream of. The bus wound over red clay roads, emerging onto the highway. The roar of the city began to invade her senses. "I won't let Mother or Luca down," she promised herself. Bucharest was nothing like her home in Magura. From above, the streets crowded together, cars honking, and bright digital billboards flashing. At Gara de Nord station, Elara hoisted her backpack, gripped her suitcase handle, and pushed through the hurrying crowds. Her dormitory for graphic design freshmen was in a plain gray concrete building, humble, but for Elara it felt like a new home. She met her roommates, Andrei, a programming-obsessed Transylvanian, and Mihaela, a bubbly local from Bucharest. That night, over soft chatter and shared dreams, Elara realized she was no longer alone. The next morning Elara started her part-time job at Café Aurora, a tiny Italian cafe at the street corner, owned by a kindly couple from Naples. With her winsome smile and fluent English, she quickly became a favorite among foreign patrons. She served lattes and cappuccinos, recommended slices of tiramisu, and quietly studied the menu design and interior layout, every detail a lesson for her future career. One late autumn day, rushing around a busy corner with her order pad clutched in one hand, catastrophe struck. A cappuccino appended onto the portfolio she'd just pulled from her bag. The wet papers blurred as the espresso soaked through. Elara froze, helpless, then knelt to gather the ruined drawings. Behind the counter came a calm voice, "Let me help you." She looked up to see a tall young man in a dark suit. He bent down, carefully picking up each soaked page. "It wasn't your fault. Here, use mine to blot them dry." Flustered, Elara whispered, "Come on." "Thank you, sir." He gave a gentle smile. "I'm Dorian Sinclair. I'm interning in marketing at Sinclair & Company, the firm collaborating with this cafe on its design." Elara's heart skipped a beat. She sensed that this coffee spill would be far more than an embarrassing mishap. Morning sunlight filtered through the dorm room curtains, dancing on the walls of Elara's small chamber. She still felt the thrill of her cafe accident, and Dorian's kindness, but no time for musing. In a few hours she was to report to Pixel Craft Studio, where she'd secured a student assistant design post that would pay for her meals and books. Pixel Craft was tucked down a narrow alley on Victory Eye Street, amid hip cafes and startup offices. Its gray ash facade and glass door etched with a white Pixelcraft decal spoke of professionalism and creativity. Inside, vector-patterned glass partitions separated polished wood desks, and posters showcased past projects, from branding a Vietnamese restaurant to building a resort website for Deloitte. Elara drew a deep breath. "I'll do my best." At the automatic reception desk she met Marius, an IT student who manned the front. "Good morning, Elara, you're early. Lydia's expecting you in the big room on the right." Lydia, about 28, slender with large expressive eyes, led her into the open workspace. IMAX glowed with half-finished logos and poster mock-ups, and an indie playlist hummed through the room. "You'll gather assets, format files, and help sketch drafts," Lydia explained, handing her a thick folder. "Dorian Sinclair from marketing will coordinate with us on the X Group Ukraine campaign visuals. Check your email daily for updates." Elara nodded, mentally organizing her tasks. Convert all past client files to Adobe Illustrator format. Rename files to the standard client_project_phase convention. Source appropriate royalty-free illustrations. Attend the daily 10 a.m. check-in with marketing. Sitting at her workstation, she opened her inbox, a message from Dorian.Sinclair@xgroup.com, brand guidelines and the initial campaign brief attached. He wanted to sync at 2 p.m. Relief washed over her. That's the same Dorian who helped me with my wet portfolio. At precisely 2 p.m. the team gathered in the small conference room. On the whiteboard glowed the campaign title X Group Ukraine, Reconnect and Thrive. Dorian entered in a navy suit, light blue tie, his confident gaze sweeping the room before settling on Elara. "Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Dorian Sinclair, marketing intern for X Group. Let's make this campaign stellar." Elara's pulse quickened as she responded with a polite nod. Dorian outlined the hashtag Reconnect Thrive to rally post-war Ukrainian businesses, drew parallels with a successful Polish initiative, then turned to her. "Elara, you're handling the graphic assets. Can you have initial sketches ready by tomorrow morning?" Surprised but honored to be named, she replied, "Yes, I'll share them before 10 a.m. "Perfect. Use blue 345C and yellow 1230C as your palette. See you on Slack." After the meeting, Elara organized her workflow. Sure enough, half an hour before midnight an email from Dorian arrived with measured feedback on icons and background hues. She spent the next 30 minutes refining margins, hue, and contrast, then sent back the files. Already Dorian had responded. "Much better. For the map, align labels horizontally. Let's discuss on Slack." Elara tagged him. @Dorian, I've updated the labels as requested. Please check." His reply glowed on her screen almost instantly. @Elara, excellent attention to detail. Keep it up." Her cheeks warmed with pride, until another ping. @Elara, next time, export in SVG rather than PNG to preserve vectors. FYI. She muttered, "I'm new to this, and he's already grading me." Yet, instead of discouraging her, his exacting comments ignited her determination. That night she dove into Illustrator tutorials on SVG export, even messaging Andre for tips on optimizing the plugin. On the third day Elara delivered a fully layered SVG file. Dorian previewed it, paused, then typed. "This is exactly what I meant. Thanks for the prompt fix, Elara." Her heart soared. Sometimes his critiques truly helped her grow. That weekend Pixel Craft hosted a pizza party. Dorian handed her a large slice with a grin. "Thought you might need some carbs after the SVG marathon." They bantered about food, travel, and, most excitingly, Carpathia. "One day, I'd love to visit the mountains," he said. "If you come, I'll take you to watch sunrise from Sielau," she promised. Walking back to the dorm under the lamplights of Victory Eye Street, Elara's mind whirled. She had taken a big step forward in her career, and in her heart. Stumbles and discoveries. On Monday morning of the third week, Elara Ionescu arrived earlier than usual, ready for the kickoff meeting of Phase 2 of the Reconnect and Thrive project. She stepped into the conference room, noting new agenda items on the whiteboard, surveying young business personas, developing a 10 industry icon set for Ukraine's key sectors, and ideating many motion graphics videos. Dorian Sinclair tapped a key, glanced at the wall clock, then addressed the team. Good morning, team. Today we'll dive into user personas. Elara, I want you to draft at least 3 icon sets, for agriculture, renewable energy, and education. Deadline, tomorrow by noon. Elara did the math in her head, 3 animated icon sets, roughly 30 to 40 icons total, each in flat minimal style with basic animations, all in one afternoon. She replied, understood. I'll have rough sketches ready by 11 a.m. Dorian nodded and shared his market insights. Research shows executive decision makers respond well to micro interactions, hover color changes or slight enlargements. Let's aim for that. After the meeting, Elara confided to Lydia, sis, I'm worried I won't finish in time. Lydia reassured her, just nail the concepts, vectors and palette, and I'll coordinate with the animation team in Framer Motion. That afternoon Elara drafted 3 icon sets in Illustrator. Agriculture, leaf, seed, plow, water droplet. Renewable energy, wind turbine, solar panel, eco bulb. Education, open book, stylus, digital chalkboard. By 5 p.m. she exported SVGs and posted them on Slack. At Dorian, initial icon sets attached. Please review when you can. Back at home, Elara planned to hit the gym, then an email notification arrived. Subject, feedback on icon sets. Hi Elara, thanks for the quick work. Concepts look promising. A few notes. Agriculture set has inconsistent sizes. Stroke width should be 2px, some are 3px. Add a light yellow accent tone. Please revise and resend by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Elara sighed, another late night, but she wasn't discouraged. On Slack she responded, at Dorian, understood. We'll adjust ratios, stroke width, palette, and resend by 8 a.m. Thanks. He replied with support, even offering to share the X Group UI kit. Energized, Elara completed the revisions by 7:58 a.m. the next day. Dorian's reply perfect. I love the consistency. Ready for the animation team. Fantastic work. Elara beamed with pride. Seeds of affection. Warm golden lights filled the table at Les Amis de Provence, where Elara and Dorian sat opposite each other. It was their first chance to leave keyboards and sketch pads behind and enjoy a private celebration after Phase 2's concept approval. Dorian, who had reserved a quiet corner facing the old town, raised his glass of white wine. You deserve this dinner. Icon and motion did outstanding work. Elara blushed, thank you. I was nervous about your praise, but your guidance gave me confidence. A hush fell, pierced only by forks tapping plates. Dorian looked into her eyes. You can call me Dorian. I'm not your boss, just a colleague. Elara's heart fluttered. Okay, Dorian. Over jazz and candlelight they shared their journeys, hers from the Carpathian Mountains yearning for city lights, his from business travel in London, Paris, and New York, craving pure creativity at a startup. Elara offered, if you ever come to Romania, I'll take you to Sialau's summit at sunrise. Dorian smiled warmly. I promise I will. When the beef bourguignon arrived, Dorian set aside his fork and leaned forward. I have something to say. I don't know where to start. Elara's heart pounded. What is it? He swallowed. I deeply admire your talent and effort. But I also want to know you beyond work. I like you, Elara. Since you rescued that project with SVG, I've thought, maybe we could work and live side by side. Silence fell. Elara, surprised and delighted, lowered her eyes. You. That's unexpected, but I don't deny it. He took her hand. No rush. Let's take our time getting to know each other. Her heart soared. That night she browsed office romance forums, pondering how to balance feelings and professionalism. When Slack pinged the next morning, it was Dorian. At Dorian, hey, I've got an extra housing fee for our late sessions. Any chance you can help? He replied immediately. At Elara, I'll cover it. You focus on rest. Touched, She felt his care firsthand. That same week she received an invitation from the University of Bucharest, a 2-month symposium in Paris to design posters for an international exhibit. It meant leaving Dorian and Pixel Craft. Over an evening jog she phoned him. "Elara, I got the Paris fellowship." He turned away to mask his emotion. "Really? That's amazing. But, can we continue the project remotely?" She smiled sadly. "Of course. I'll stay on daily updates." "I'll miss you." He whispered. "I'll miss you too. I'm sorry I didn't ask sooner." They vowed to make it work across the distance. Parting paths. Monday morning, Elara opened the official symposium invitation. Invitation to Paris Design Symposium. "Dear Ms. Ionescu, we are pleased to offer you a position as Design Fellow at the 6-week Paris Symposium on Visual Communication, Côte d'Azur branch." Tears welled in her eyes. Paris, once a dream destination, now beckoned as a career-defining opportunity. Yet it meant leaving Bucharest and Dorian. At the next project meeting, Elara announced. "Dorian, Lydia, I've been accepted to the Paris Symposium. I'll support the campaign remotely." Dorian looked stunned, voice wavering. "Paris? That's incredible. But I'll miss you dearly." Lydia patted her shoulder. "You'll do great. The process is in place." Afterwards Dorian pulled her into the hallway. "Embrace this chance. I'm proud of you, stay confident." Elara sniffed back tears. "I will, and I'll think of you whenever I'm stuck." He held her hand, eyes glistening. "We'll video chat weekly." Friday arrived and Elara packed her portfolio, laptop, passport, and even her red lipstick, her talisman of confidence. She video called Dorian from Otepenia Airport. "Elara, I'm here." Dorian checked his phone anxiously. "I can't make it, urgent meeting. But I'll be with you in spirit." She nodded sadly. "Bye. Remember to miss me." "I will." The screen went dark. She boarded, catching one last glimpse of him through the boarding gate glass. At Charles de Gaulle, she hailed a taxi to the Centre des Arts Visuels beside the Seine. Their professor Claire Dubois welcomed her. "Bienvenue, Elara. Your portfolio was outstanding. We'll place you in the immersive motion graphics group." Elara nodded, heart pounding. That evening, back in the cramped student dorm, she found Dorian's Slack message. "How are you? We need a motion sample for Bucharest. Ping me when ready." She replied, "On it, we'll prioritize the project." Gazing at Parisian streetlights, she realized she now lived in 2 worlds, and would have to balance them. Each in their own world. 3 weeks into Paris, Elara's schedule overflowed. 8 to 12 a.m. seminars on motion design trends at Atelier Lumière, 1 to 5 p.m. After Effects and Cinema 4D practice, nighttime library research and plugin tests, plus Dorian's feedback. One day Professor Dubois assigned a 15-second revival clip mixing vector textures and live footage. Elara sketched a plan: select royalty-free sprouting buds footage, mask vector leaves along growth paths with After Effects expressions, and optimize output. But an expression error, undefined is not a function, blocked her. Panicked, she messaged Dorian. At Dorian, having trouble with grow on path expression, any tips? He replied from Bucharest: at Dorian, try. Add key instead of set value at time. Worked for me. She fixed it, the path bloomed perfectly. Relieved, she grinned at the screen. Yet she seldom caught their 8 p.m. call. Time zones and packed days meant more connecting screens than conversations. She missed him fiercely. In a weekend workshop, Italian peer Sofia offered counsel: "Paris is just a trial. You're talented, you'll adapt." Encouraged, Elara reached out to classmates, sharing techniques and easing her loneliness. Meanwhile in Bucharest, Dorian battled a printing error. Posters were cut incorrectly, slicing off logos. He huddled with Lydia and Victor, yet as he paused Slack, he typed to Elara: "at Dorian, print error is fixed, but we need new digital assets by tomorrow. Can you send updated files?" Elara, mid-demo in Paris, shot back: "at Elara, sure. Send specs." They exchanged layouts and she resized artboards to 16:9 and 4:3, exported PNGs and SVGs, and uploaded them. 5 minutes later, Dorian's reply: at Dorian, received. You're a lifesaver. Her heart soared at that simple affirmation. One evening she presented her Paris prototype in class. Professor Dubois praised how she integrated SVGs and motion design in EcoWave. Applause filled the room. Sophia whispered, "Bravo." Elara felt her confidence bloom. She could conquer advanced techniques while keeping Pixel Craft's project alive. Mending broken mirrors. In mid-November, a major technology and culture event convened at London's Park Plaza Westminster Bridge. Dorian was invited to speak on Reconnect and Thrive, while Elara led a digital art workshop. Both hectic schedules, yet fate brought them together in England. On opening morning, Dorian strode onto the Grand Hall stage, flashes from cameras and live streams illuminating his navy suit. His talk on graphics and motion in conveying revival won enthusiastic applause. In the audience, Elara beamed with pride. Afterward she approached him backstage. "Elara, Dorian. Incredible talk." He smiled in surprise. "Elara. I didn't know you'd be here." They embraced tightly, 2 months apart, vanished in an instant. At the tech demo area, Elara's digital revival posters and VR leaf sprout experience drew a crowd. Dorian donned the headset, marveling, "This is brilliant. Exactly the spirit of revival." Suddenly Michael Harper, creative director from Arrival Agency, sneered, "Pardon, but your posters don't match your website's style. Icons look flat, minimal, while these have textured art." Dorian defended, "We chose dual styles for phases. Reconnect is minimal, Revival is textured. Consistency lies in message, not just style." The audience listened, impressed by Elara's composure. Her professionalism and Dorian's pride in her work shone through. That evening at a rooftop networking party, Michael approached and offered a handshake. "Your ideas are creative. Perhaps we may collaborate in future." Dorian watched, then took Elara's hand, proof they'd matured through every challenge. Later on the balcony overlooking the Thames, Dorian turned to her. "Elara, from Carpathia to Bucharest, Paris to London, do you think we're on the right path?" She met his gaze. "Yes. We balance work and heart. I want to move forward with you." He leaned in for a tender kiss. Behind him, London's lights glimmered in celebration of their reconciliation. The next morning, event organizer Alice invited them to run a Berlin workshop next year. In unison they smiled, "We'd be honored." Hand in hand, they embraced new career and love horizons. Cross-continental collaboration. Early the next spring, a Slack notification lit up X Group's virtual war room. Announcement: we've secured the Global Green Horizons campaign across Berlin, Tokyo, and New York. Dorian and Elara will co-lead creative. Kickoff at 8 a.m. today. In Paris, Elara smiled. 2 months apart fueled her desire to partner with Dorian again. At 8 o'clock Bucharest, 1400 hours Paris, 1600 hours Tokyo, 2 o'clock New York, a Zoom grid appeared, 15 faces from 4 time zones. Dorian and Elara greeted from their respective offices, joined by Pixel Craft's Lydia and Victor and local partners from Berlin's Frau Müller, Tokyo's Mr. Tanaka, and New York's Ms. Parker. Dorian opened, "This campaign urges green investment in rural Eastern Europe's wind farms. Elara, you'll spearhead visual design, icons, posters, motion." Elara spoke up, "We'll create urban bloom for Berlin/New York, flat minimal style, and ocean whisper for Tokyo with Japanese floral motifs and water textures." Frau Müller praised it. Mr. Tanaka requested flexible LED layouts by Friday. The meeting ended successfully. 2 weeks later, Dorian and Elara took the high-speed train to Berlin, sharing an Airbnb near the East Side Gallery. At Studio Grungkraft they sketched the urban bloom poster, skyscrapers entwined with greenery. Dorian penned the tagline, "Plant today, power tomorrow." Elara refined vectors as Lydia and Victor prepared motion prototypes. Franz, the Berlin designer, joked in German-English banter. Dorian leaned close, "I miss Paris. But Berlin has its charm. Elara squeezed his hand. With you, anywhere is perfect. Afterwards, strolling along the spree with German beer in hand, they felt their bond deepen through shared work and wanderlust. Back in Paris, an urgent message from Tokyo. The Ocean Whisper folder arrived missing SVGs and A templates. Only 2 days remained before LED printing. Panicked, Elara called Dorian in Bucharest. Elara, I sent the wrong link. He passed a brisk hallway. Don't worry, send the correct assets on Slack and email. Victor and I will re-export. Through the night, teams in Paris and Bucharest reprocessed vectors and After Effects templates, uploaded them to Tokyo's FTP. Mr. Tanaka confirmed, got everything, jumping to production now. At 3 a.m. Paris, 1 a.m. Bucharest, both sighed relief. They messaged : at Elara, crisis averted. At Dorian, thanks to your fast fix. 1 month later, Green Horizons launched, posters in Berlin U-Bahn stations, Tokyo's Shinjuku LED motion art, Times Square HTML5 banners. Online engagement surged 300%, investment up 20%. At the Berlin launch event, Dorian proclaimed on stage, with creativity and teamwork, we can bridge continents and build a greener future. Elara added with a smile, thank you all, especially Dorian, for being an amazing partner. She pulled him in for applause as the lights flashed around them, a testament to love and shared purpose. The final challenge. Just a week after the triumphant launch, scandal struck. A Berlin tech blog accused X Group of exploiting the green movement for profit, sharing a crudely doctored image of a wind turbine banner overlaid with industrial machinery. The hashtag Green Horizons betrayal trended across Europe, and Tokyo and New York press echoed the allegations. Dorian opened his morning email to an urgent board meeting request on media crisis. CEO Mr. Stoddard warned, if this drags on, it could be disastrous. Clear it up in 48 hours. After the meeting, Dorian called Elara, still in Paris, via Zoom. Someone doctored our urban bloom art. We must prove it was fake. Can you whip up an infographic and a time-lapse video showing our original design process? She replied, I'll create a 30-second before versus after sequence in After Effects, layer by layer, with metadata proof. Within 2 hours she completed the video and PDF, uploaded them privately, and sent the links. In the boardroom Zoom, Dorian presented, here is the Illustrator source, layers for tree icons and turbine paths. Then the doctored version with added industrial imagery. Metadata timestamps confirm authenticity. Mr. Stoddard reviewed and approved, excellent. Issue a public statement with those materials immediately. Within 12 hours, X Group posted Urban Bloom, the truth on all channels and launched an Instagram infographic series tagged hashtag Green Horizons Truth. The Berlin blog retracted its post with an apology. Media coverage shifted to praise the campaign's transparency. That evening Dorian video called Elara, without your animation sequence, we could not have recovered so swiftly. Thank you. Elara smiled through tears, we did it together. Dorian paused, then whispered, and I love you. Her heart soared. To celebrate, they planned a road trip back to Magura, through Austria and Hungary to Romania. Along the Carpathian foothills, she introduced him to her mother and brother. Anka embraced him, thank you for coming. I'll cook you the best meal. Dorian, shy, took Elara's hand, I love your daughter very much. Their laughter echoed through the rustic home as the sun set over moss-covered roof tiles, a fitting close to their journey from humble beginnings to united triumph. Declarations and bonds. Dawn broke over Sialau's pine-clad ridges, illuminating a narrow trail where Elara and Dorian bicycled side by side. The crisp air carried only bird calls and the rustle of needles. For Dorian, it was his first mountain sunrise, but he moved easily, eyes bright with wonder. Dorian gazed upward, waking here at dawn is extraordinary. Elara grinned, wait till we reach the summit, Carpathia's peaks stretch like ocean waves. She checked her watch, the sun would crest any minute. Guiding him to a rocky ledge bench, she saw him pause, hands trembling as he pulled a small navy blue box from his windbreaker. Bathed in the golden light, his angular features softened. He knelt, opening the box to reveal a simple yet elegant diamond ring set between intertwined white and yellow gold bands symbolizing their parallel paths. Dorian spoke, voice thick with emotion. Elara, over 2 years you've stood by me through hundreds of projects and time zones. You gave me purpose and love. Will you let me be your partner in life? Let me build a home with you in Bucharest, and one day grow old here together. May I care for you as you've cared for our work and my heart? Tears brimmed in Elara's eyes as her chest tightened. She nodded, voice trembling, Dorian. I'm so happy. I say yes 1,000 times. He smiled, slipping the ring onto her finger. At that moment the sun rose in full glory, the diamond flashing like a promise. Dorian drew her close, whispering, I love you. Elara met his gaze and smiled back, I love you. They shared their first kiss at Sialau's summit, where her journey had begun. Happiness fulfilled. 3 months later, summer bloomed over Carpathia. Sinclair and company arranged an intimate wedding at Elara's childhood village, Magura. An old wooden house was cleaned and adorned, white linen draped along railings, wildflowers of hawkweed and daisies lining the aisle. Luca and villagers strung lanterns and set rustic wooden benches. Elara wore a delicate lace gown, hair in gentle waves, clutching a hand-tied wildflower bouquet. Anka donned traditional Romanian attire, tears shining in her eyes. Dorian, in a light gray suit and a teal tie, Elara's favorite color, waited at the wooden altar. The village mayor read the blessing. Today we unite Elara and Dorian. May you face storms together, cultivate joy, and nurture dreams side by side. Dorian took her hand, placed the ring, and vowed, I promise to love, respect, and protect you, from Carpathia to wherever life leads. Elara responded, I pledge to stand by you, share laughter and tears, build our family, and sow our shared dreams. They exchanged rings and a gentle kiss, met with cheers under the azure sky. A celebration followed beneath the ancient oak, long wood tables piled with sarmale, mamaliga, telemea cheese, and local red wine. Luca and friends played folk music on guitars, the couple danced hand in hand. Dorian surprised everyone by strumming a Romanian folk tune on a small guitar. Elara tapped her foot to the rhythm, laughter ringing in the warm night air, just like their love. Simple, joyful, enduring. The next morning they returned to Bucharest, settling into a new home near X-Group's offices. Elara accepted a director role for motion graphics at Pixel Craft. Dorian was promoted to head of marketing, Europe. In their apartment they set up a cozy studio corner, morning coffees and shared sketches fueling new ideas. One bright morning, Dorian prepared French bread from the local market while Elara arranged wildflowers. She smiled and said, We've traveled so far, from Carpathia to Bucharest, Paris, London, Berlin, Tokyo, New York, but most importantly, we've come home, to each other. Dorian poured her an espresso and toasted, and there are many more journeys ahead, together. Sunlight poured through the window onto their shared space, promising new projects, dreams, and the lasting love they had forged through every challenge.